Navigating America, avoiding the 7 common mistakes tourists make. Welcome back, fellow travelers. Today, we're delving into the topic of the United States, a land of endless possibilities and diverse experiences. But as enticing as it may be, navigating the intricacies of American culture and customs can sometimes be a challenge for tourists. So, in this video, we're going to uncover the 7 biggest mistakes that tourists often make when visiting the United States, and how you can avoid them to make the most of your American adventure. So, without any further delay, let's get started. 1. Underestimating the size of the country. One of the most common mistakes tourists make when visiting the United States is underestimating just how big the country is. With a land area of over 9.8 million square kilometers, the U.S. is the 3rd largest country in the world by land area. This means that travel times between cities and attractions can be much longer than you might expect. To avoid this mistake, be sure to plan your itinerary carefully and allow plenty of time for travel between destinations. Consider renting a car or using domestic flights to cover long distances more efficiently. And don't forget to factor in time zone differences. The United States spans multiple time zones, so be sure to adjust your schedule accordingly. 2. Ignoring visa and entry requirements. Another common mistake tourists make when visiting the United States is ignoring visa and entry requirements. Depending on your country of citizenship, you may need to obtain a visa or apply for an electronic system for travel authorization, ESTA, before you can enter the country. To avoid any issues, be sure to research the entry requirements for your specific situation well in advance of your trip. Visit the official website of the U.S. Department of State or consult with your local U.S. Embassy or consulate for up-to-date information on visa requirements and application procedures. Failure to comply with entry requirements could result in delays or even denial of entry upon arrival. 3. Underestimating cultural and regional differences. One of the most fascinating aspects of the United States is its incredible diversity, both culturally and geographically. Each region of the country has its own unique customs, traditions, and way of life, which can vary significantly from one state to another. To avoid this mistake, take the time to research the cultural and regional differences of the United States before your trip. Be open-minded and respectful of local customs and traditions, and embrace the opportunity to learn from the diverse communities you encounter along the way. And don't forget to sample the local cuisine. Each region of the U.S. has its own culinary specialties that are not to be missed. 4. Overpacking. When it comes to packing for a trip to the United States, less is often more. Many tourists make the mistake of overpacking, bringing along unnecessary items that end up weighing them down and complicating their travels. To avoid this mistake, take a minimalist approach to packing and focus on bringing versatile, multi-purpose items that you'll actually use during your trip. Stick to the essentials: comfortable clothing, sturdy footwear, and any necessary medications or travel documents. And remember, you can always pick up any forgotten items or souvenirs once you arrive in the U.S. By packing light and smart, you'll not only lighten your load, but also free yourself up to fully enjoy your travels without being weighed down by unnecessary baggage. So, before you zip up that suitcase, take a moment to reconsider your packing strategy, and remember, less is often more when it comes to packing for a trip to the United States. 5. Underestimating costs. Another common mistake tourists make when visiting the United States is underestimating the cost of travel. While the U.S. offers a wide range of budget-friendly options for travelers, expenses can quickly add up if you're not careful. To avoid this mistake, take the time to create a realistic budget for your trip and research the cost of accommodations, transportation, meals, and activities in advance. Consider using travel apps or websites to compare prices and find the best deals on flights, hotels, and rental cars. And don't forget to factor in additional expenses such as taxes, tips, and souvenirs. By planning ahead and budgeting wisely, you can avoid the mistake of underestimating costs and ensure that you have enough funds to enjoy your trip to the United States to the fullest. Remember, a little financial planning goes a long way in making your travel experience stress-free and enjoyable. 6. Overplanning. While it's important to have a plan in place for your trip to the United States, many tourists make the mistake of overplanning every minute of their itinerary. This can lead to stress, exhaustion, and a lack of spontaneity, the very things that make travel enjoyable. To avoid this mistake, strike a balance between structure and flexibility in your travel plans. Leave plenty of room for impromptu adventures and serendipitous discoveries, and don't be afraid to deviate from your itinerary if something catches your eye along the way. Remember, some of the best travel experiences are the ones you never saw coming. And don't forget to factor in unexpected expenses and emergencies. It's always a good idea to have a contingency fund set aside for unforeseen circumstances. Consider purchasing travel insurance to protect yourself against potential financial losses due to trip cancellations, medical emergencies, or other unforeseen events. 7. Overlooking safety precautions. Last but certainly not least, one of the biggest mistakes tourists make when visiting the United States is overlooking safety precautions. While the U.S. is generally a safe destination for travelers, it's important to take common-sense precautions to protect yourself and your belongings. To avoid this mistake, familiarize yourself with basic safety tips and emergency procedures before your trip. Keep important documents such as your passport and travel insurance information in a secure location, and make note of emergency contact numbers for local authorities and medical services. And don't forget to trust your instincts. If something doesn't feel right, it's always better to err on the side of caution. If you plan to participate in outdoor activities such as hiking or camping, be sure to research the area beforehand and take appropriate precautions. Stay on marked trails, heed any warning signs or advisories, and be prepared for changes in weather conditions. As we wrap up our exploration of the 7 biggest mistakes tourists make when visiting the United States, we hope you found this guide helpful in planning your own adventures. Remember, travel is about more than just checking items off your bucket list. It's about immersing yourself in new cultures, forging unforgettable memories, and embracing the unexpected. By avoiding these common pitfalls and approaching your trip with an open mind and adventurous spirit, you'll be well equipped to make the most of your time in the United States. So go forth, fellow travelers, and embark on your own journey of discovery. And who knows, you may just find that the greatest adventures are the ones that take you by surprise. Thank you for joining us on this virtual excursion, and until next time, happy travels.